What's going on, guys? It's Gendo here, and welcome to episode 32 of For the Love of the Game. And we're about to start the 2021-22 season with Queen's Park facing off versus Berwick away and Dumbarton at home in the double live comp to start off this league season. But before we get to that, we must go over how we've been faring in the transfer markets as well as how our cup matches have started out with. Let's take a look at the long list of ins and outs, and of course I'm going to start with the outs first. And you will notice right away that Forfar have taken 3 of my players, all of them along the back line, and all of them starters too. Danny Kelly, Christian Gibson, and Callum Hovarth. Really disappointing that they were able to take all 3 of those defenders. It was, like I said, all 3 of them starters. Definitely were going to help contribute to the back line this upcoming season. But with all of them going away, I really needed to scramble and try and figure out who I was going to be starting there in the back line, because the youth side isn't really developing all that well. However, there was one youth player that was developing pretty well, but he was snapped up by Kilmarnock, and that is Kenny Kane, the center mid, not sticking around, and I'm not going to bother loaning him back in either. But aside from that, I did say that Ross McCrory was going to get the can as soon as the end of last season came about. In fact, I may mention that in the last episode, and he was the very first guy to leave. Everybody else going on a free transfer. Let me take a look. We got Ross Doherty, of course, center mid, also right back. Lee McClellan, who came in on this side and then turned out he wasn't all that great, getting the can. John Black, striker. I was going to have 6 strikers on the squad this upcoming season. Didn't feel like I needed him anymore. In fact, he was the worst striker on the squad last season, so might as well make up some room for a player that can play in a different position, help fill out other spots. And then finally, Jamie Henry and Dale Wilson. Jamie Henry being another person that I brought in on a free just to see how he'd play. Didn't really fit in, while Dale Wilson was a youth player. So let's take a look at all these people that are coming in, though I can tell you half of these are no longer with the club, especially most of these loanees, as you can see. Taking a look specifically at those loan deals, nobody on this is staying with the club anymore except for Kevin McAuslin. Kevin McAuslin, a right back, being loaned in from St. Mirren. Not bad at all. Just taking a look, he's got decent speed for an 18-year-old with a 10 pace, 12 agility, 11 acceleration, and as far as defensive stats, not bad either. 12 marking, 10 tackling. His positioning needs a little bit of work, as well as his mental and a little bit on his technical side. But other than that, he's a solid player for our squad. Like I said, outside of that, all the other loanees not staying with the club. Taking a look at all the people that are brought in on a free, we have Craig McCall. Craig McCall, a defensive mid, and I will use him specifically in that defensive mid role in the new formation that I'm going to have to instill. Not bad at all either in terms of his speed and his defense and his physical abilities. Decent mentals as well, could possibly work on that, but otherwise not a bad player. Kenny Adamson. Kenny Adamson is a little bit on the older side. He's 32 years old and will most likely be used as cover on the left back position. Like I said, his speed, not all that good for his age, but brought him in mostly for his mental attributes. I think I have him set as my vice captain. If not, then he's pretty up there in terms of who will take over the captain's armband when people get subbed out. His defensive ability, 11 marking, 10 on tackling. He can do a job. I'm sure he can do a job. Like I said, Lee McClelland didn't stay long as he was kicked to the curb 10 days later. But one player that is staying on the squad is Liam Smith. Liam Smith is a youth player. I actually scouted him during trial days, and I want to try and instill a 4-1-4-1. So that's why I brought him in as a left mid player. I do like his speed a lot. The only thing he needs to work on is his technical abilities, especially his crossing and his dribbling and his passing. So I'm going to send him down to the under 20s so he can develop for a year, maybe 2, and then bring him up to the full-time squad in case he does good. Same thing with Sean Dare. Sean Dare, also 19 years old, also really fast, but at the same time, not really good on the technical side. Looking at the crossing, looking at the finishing, well, not the finishing since he's a right side mid, but looking at the passing, looking at the first touch, those can all need work. Those will all be trained while he's at the under 20s. Then we took a look at Daniel Crisp. He came in from somewhere. This is going to be hard. Inverurie Locos. And he is a 25-year-old right back who can also play on the left side. However, when I picked him up, he immediately got himself some fractured ribs, and that's why he is currently on the injury side, and that's why all his stats are declining. But I did pick him up primarily for his speed, 11 pace, 12 acceleration. He had okay defensive stats with an 11 on tackling, a 9 on marking. Those could stand to use a little work. Though once he comes off of injury, set him on that training regimen. Sean Johnston, however, will be my primary right back. He's a 20-year-old Scotsman, 13 pace, 11 agility, 10 acceleration, and then over on the defensive stats, all in double digits, with 11 marking, a 10 in tackling. His positioning needing a little bit of work, but it's starting to go up with a 6 there. He's got some okay mentals and then okay technical stats apart from that. Liam Dunn is the second player coming in from Inverurie Locos, 24-year-old right back who can also play center back. Not going to be a starter. He's definitely going to be coming off the bench, as he definitely needs some work on the defensive side. Then we take a look at Jamie Henry. No, actually, we're not going to take a look at Jamie Henry because he got canned a few days later. But we are going to take a look at Dean Gallagher, coming in from Dumbarton. He's on the under 20 side, as his defensive stats, once again, this seems to be a theme. Defensive stats need to be worked on. Not so much the marking, definitely on the tackling side, maybe a little bit on the positioning too. But his speed, nothing to be scoffed at, as he has an 11 on pace and a 13 in acceleration. So he's pretty quick, but he just needs to learn to harness that quickness into proper tackling and proper positioning. And then finally, another center mid coming in, Hamish Burr from Fraserburgh. He is a 25-year-old Scotsman. I do like most of what he has here. He's got good mentals. He's got good physicals. I was about to say great physicals. But on the technical side, he definitely needs a lot of work. His passing is good, which is good for a center mid. However, if he wants to push forward, he needs to have a better first touch, and he definitely needs to have better finishing. His technique could use a little work as well, but overall, not a bad midfielder. He'll be coming off the bench as more of a substitute. So aside from that, we also are looking at Dale Beath, who is a free transfer, but just taking a look at some of his stats for a center mid. 12 to 16 technique, that's always good. Pace, hopefully he'll be in the double digits when he comes in. Same thing with the acceleration. His stamina looks really good. His first touch looks really good. His positioning could use a little work. Dribbling, I hope it's on the higher side between 7 and 12, but when he comes in, I hope that he will be a primary center mid that I'll use going forward. Alright, aside from that, let's take a look at the 2 cup matches we actually got ourselves into, and they turned out to be victories. Also, the first time I've ever gotten a win in the League Cup during my tenure here at Queen's Park. A 4-3 victory over Dumbarton in extra time at that. Queen's Park going into Dumbarton and pulling off 4-3 victory with 10 shots, 7 of them on target. Not a lot of possession, but Sean Johnston, Danny McNulty, and Darren O'Brien getting all the goals in the second half of regulation. And then Ryan Waters with the match winner just 5 minutes into the extra time period. A lot of people super knackered after that, so it leaves me a little worried going into our first match of the league. But then the cup match before that was the Challenge Cup, and Sean Johnston getting the only goal in that, once again traveling to Dumbarton, and once again another penalty kick for him just on the edge of halftime. 8 shots, 4 of them on target. We had majority possession this time around, but ultimately a 1-0 victory, advancing us to the second round. In the second round of those cup competitions, in the Challenge Cup, we'll be facing off against Falkirk at home. That helps a little, but it still is Falkirk, and they are a championship side. So I don't expect us to win that match. And I also don't expect us to win the match in the League Cup versus the Wraith Rovers. Wraith actually moving up into the Premiership this past season. So, once again, the Premiership side with Premiership players, even if they are at the bottom of the Premiership, they still have good Championship players, which I don't think we can compete with. So, once again, I foresee a loss there. Alright, so that's pretty much the entire off-season roundup, as well as leading up to the first match. So let's kick off with this first match versus Berwick. And Berwick are going to be coming out today with a 4-4-2, and this is the formation that I said that I was going to try and use going forward. It got us the 2 wins versus Dumbarton. Hopefully we can continue having success with it. It's the 4-5-1, and 2 injuries of note, as I said, Daniel Crisp, when I was going through these squad rundowns, but unfortunately Greg Fleming is going to be out for the next year, at the very least 8 months. Unfortunately, he damaged some cruciate ligaments, aka he tore his ACL, more than likely, and which is sad because he is the best goalkeeper I have on the squad. He is also the fastest goalkeeper I have, and I fear once he comes back for next season, he is going to be slow as dirt, and I'm not going to be able to use his abilities. But we can only hope that he doesn't lose too much in the terms of his stats, and that he can actually be a useful goalkeeper when he comes back. So for now, it's going to be Chris Kedding's going to be my main goalkeeper, with Graham Thompson, one of my youth players, backing him up. Then along the back line, we have Johnston, McNulty, McLean, and Alexander. Craig McCall is going to be our primary defensive mid, with John Watson and Jack Downey going to be the center mids. Out on the wings, we have Darren O'Brien and Stephen Davidson, and sitting up front, Andy McKinnon. Well, let's kick off, and if it is still the first match, I wouldn't be too mad if we lost, but if we can start out the day getting some sort of result, that would be even better. Alright, and we kick off for the first match of a new season. Berwick, of course, being relegated from the championship last season, so I assume they will still have a lot of their championship players, but it doesn't show after the first minute goal from Stephen Davidson. That was a nice long free kick from Jack Downey, and already Queen's Park up 1-0. Highlights directly from the kickoff. It's going to leave me a little bit wary, as more than likely it's going to end badly for us. Berwick coming forward, and what did I say? That was within 45 seconds to a minute of our goal, as Berwick equalize, and it's 1-1. Not even 2 minutes have passed, and already we pick up an injury. Well, a little bit of a knock for Jack Downey. Berwick now see themselves with a free kick. Wow! That was almost a carbon copy of how they scored their first goal. A header into the far post, completely stumping the goalkeeper, and it's 2-1 Berwick. We haven't even hit double digits on the clock yet. Really need to demand more from my players. Alexander throwing from the wing into McKinnon. Still not even double digits on the clock, and we are coming with another attack. It's a foul in the box, and that's going to be a penalty. Who's stepping up to take it? It's going to be Sean Johnston, as he has taken 2 penalties before in the 2 cup matches. He steps up, he's poised, he slots it bottom right corner, and 9 minutes have passed. And defense, what is defense? As Queen's Park make it 2-2. Absolutely astounding here. 16 minutes have passed, and now Berwick coming with an attack. Are we going to stick with... Yeah, we're going to stick with the same theme of what is defense, as Berwick have taken 4 shots. Actually, it's going to move up to 5 shots with 3 of them on target. All 3 of them have been goals. Whereas we've taken 3 shots, 2 of them being on target. And, of course, both of them being goals. Bad tackle. Wow. This defense is absolutely atrocious. I was trying to revamp the defense. I was trying to make these players come in because I felt that they were better on defense than what I had. And it's turning out that I am so wrong. Every shot that Burke has taken has been a goal. I'm trying to let that sink in because that's just astounding that our defense would let this happen. 26 minutes gone. We need to hold on to possession. Burke, wow. Okay. Things need to change. Clearly, this is not good whatsoever. 6 shots, apparently 4 on target, but 5 goals. We can win in the cup matches, but apparently against teams that have recently relegated from a division higher, we cannot win against them. 35 minutes gone, and get ourselves another highlight. Long ball forward. It gets past the defender, Darren O'Brien, out on the wing. Finds McKinnon, who finds Davidson. Davidson gets one back. Third shot on target, third goal for Queen's Park. However, it's 5-3, and we haven't even hit halftime. Yeah, defense, I expect to see definitely a better showing. Midfield, you're not doing too bad, and especially the people up front, you're not doing too bad either. It's all on the defense. Just letting them come through. So we kick off for a second 45. Hopefully, we can tie this up. Let's have a very high-scoring draw. Darren O'Brien takes it down, but it's tackled away by the Burke defender. Marr coming up the right wing, though. Just need to close him down and just end this highlight. Or at least let the highlight go our way. Good save by Kettings, and that ends that attack. Alright, I'm going to make some changes. I definitely need to make some changes here. Kenny Adamson is going to be coming on for Andy McLean since you have not been playing very well at all. And Connor Rennie's going to come on for Jack Downey. Still have lots of time in this match so we can turn it around. Almost an hour gone. Darren O'Brien down. McKinnon with the ball. It's being passed around the edge of the box. No space in the middle. Watson through to McKinnon. What a save by Laidlaw, the Burke keeper. After some great passing movement from Queen's Park and ultimately not ending up in a goal. Rather unfortunate. Burke get themselves, offside and off the underside of the crossbar too. 15 minutes left to go in this match. Just going to make one little sub just to try and turn things around. Darren O'Brien's coming off. Kenny O'Brien, no relation, is coming on. Maybe try to spice something up in the attack. Just tell them to push forward. I mean, what have we got to lose at this point in time? Not telling them to push forward. To try and get one goal, at the very least. Davidson, the player that is out on the left wing, has taken a knock. We have 1 minute plus whatever stoppage time remaining in this match. A very, very high-scoring affair to start out the new Scottish League One. Burke sending that 30-yard attempt way over the crossbar. But with 15 seconds left of stoppage time, it's going to end in a victory for Burke, 5-3. What an exciting match for the first 20 minutes. Jeez, didn't expect that to happen, but at the same time, I'm not happy with the result of my players, and especially my defense, letting all those goals go in early. Take a look at that. 2nd minute, 6th minute, 17th minute, 19th minute. 27th. They scored all 5 of their goals within the first half hour. I guess you can say the same thing for us. We scored most of our goals, or actually all of our goals within the first half. So very boring second half in comparison, but at the end of the day, a loss is a loss, and letting in all those goals, not good. So, when we come back, it will be the match versus Dumbarton, where hopefully we can recreate some of our victories in the Cups and translate that into a victory in the league. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Alright, now we're back home to try and end this bad stretch that we hit with Berwick, and then ultimately losing to Falkirk in the second round of the Challenge Cup. Not much to talk about going there, but here, we're back here at Hampden Park. 618 people coming out to see this match versus Dumbarton. They're coming out in a 4-5-1, and I'm going to stick with the formation that caused them problems in both cup matches, the 4-5-1. A couple of changes here today is Ryan Waters coming in for Andy McKinnon. And I want to say Sean Johnston's in as well. I was thinking about putting in Kevin McAusland, but in the end, actually John Watson is taken over for Craig McCall, as Craig McCall has hit a bout of the flu. So he's going to be playing back there, and Connor Rennie moved up to center mid. So that's going to be the starting lineup. Let's hope this turns out to be a lot better than our first match. Alright, and we kick off, and once again we're going to be in the black and white hoops, as is traditional for Queen's Park, and Dumbarton will come out in all whites. Now, I've noticed in the first 5 matches of this campaign, using the 4-5-1, I've noticed that Queen's Park have had a lot more possession than when we ran the 5-2-3 in seasons past. But that obviously has not turned into as many goal-scoring opportunities as I would have liked, as with the 3 attackers up front, definitely give us a lot more opportunities to score goals. But now 15 minutes gone, we do have an attack here at Davidson coming in wide, gives it to Watson. Watson down, out to Downey, who's being mugged off. Taken by Watson. Waters can just turn around, and Waters gets himself on the score sheet on the day, and it's the second goal of the season, putting Queen's Park up 1-0 after 16 minutes. I was just about to give the boys some encouragement, so I'll just do that right now. 3 minutes have passed since that time, and here we come again on another attack. Downey through to Rennie. Rennie being held up in the middle. Trying to find some passing in the center, and I don't think that we can do that. But we do. We find something through the left, and Davidson taking a shot, but ultimately falls to the goalkeeper. There was some great passing play to lead up to that, too. Free kick to Dumbarton from the edge of the area. Good stop by Kettings. Get rid of the play wider as well. Maybe float in those crosses. No, whip the crosses in. Waters all alone, one-on-one with the keeper. A good save by the keeper, too. Forcing a corner out of it. Rennie whipping it in, gets it right back in. Can we hold on to it? Can we get another attack? Yeah, we do get us another attack out of it. But they don't wish to show us the highlight from that. Time winding down on this first half, and it looks like we're going to go into the locker room 1-0 leaders. So holding a very slim lead. Doing okay, but they can definitely do a lot better defensively. Can do a lot better. Midfielders, same with you. Ryan Waters, you're doing fine up in that final third. Everybody around you needs to do better getting your ball up to the attacking third. So far, not a lot has happened, as it's already into the 63rd minute of the game. And before this highlight resolves, I'm going to make a couple changes. Martin McNiff going to come in for Danny McNulty out there in the center back position. Midfielders, we're going to bring on Hamish Burr in for Connor Rennie, and I believe that's all I'm going to do right now. Ryan Waters trying to find Darren O'Brien out there on the wing, just couldn't find the pass. A lot of pinball in the middle of the park. Ball eventually falls to Johnston. Recycles it to Kettings. And once again, more pinball through the middle. Nobody wants to hold on to possession, but Dumbarton does come down with it and looks to make an attack out of it. Decent shot, but was saved by Kettings. And now all the subs coming on. I'll probably make one more, like around 75. Sean Johnston has not had a very good game today, so before that highlight resolves, as Darren O'Brien is starting to come up the right wing, Kevin McGoslin is going to make an appearance. And there we go. Darren O'Brien trying to find space through the center, has to push it back to Johnston. It's inside to Watson, to Burr. Burr finds Waters. Waters makes it 2. 2 on the day, and his third goal of the season. 74 minutes have gone, and Queen's Park leading 2-0 over Dumbarton. We're going to make it 3 out of 3 in terms of meetings this season. Queen's Park over Dumbarton. 2 minutes of stoppage time have pretty much all but come and gone. One last attack for Dumbarton. Maybe they can get a goal out of it. Nope, that's a good save by Kettings there, preventing that goal. Final kick, final corner. Pinballing around in the box. Dumbarton still coming forward, and I'm surprised that was not a penalty. But at the end of the day, it is going to be a solid victory for Queen's Park, and our first victory of the season. 2-0. Good job, everybody. And yeah, we didn't have that bad of a day. 8 shots, 3 of them on target, and roughly the same amount of possession. But at the end of the day, a good, solid win. Definitely making up for that 5-3 goal fest versus Berwick. So when we come back, traditionally, we're going to come back right after the Scottish Cup, which means we will face off against Airdrie and Queen of the South. So let's take a look and see if there are any injuries that I should be worried about. No injuries. So Airdrie and Queen of the South will be the next time we will come back. And until that time, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, comments, suggestions, questions, anything else, please leave in the comment box below. But as always, this is Gendo, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.